Hey guys, Byron Scott here. My philosophy, especially in coaching, has always been very simple: defend, rebound, run. And what I mean by that, when you talk about defending, two of the teams that I had when I coached, New Jersey and New Orleans, were in the top 5 in defensive uh, statistics all year long. And those two teams were very successful. The New Jersey Nets at that time went to the finals 2 straight years. I had a team in New Orleans with Chris Paul and David West and Tyson Chandler, very good defensive team. We were very successful. So that's one of the main reasons that I think, and it's any sport. If you look at sports, if you look at baseball, why do pitchers get paid the amount of money they get paid? Because they want to shut down the offense of other teams. Defense has always been what wins championships. And for us, when I played in LA, Pat Riley was real big into rebounding because we wasn't the biggest team in the world. We wasn't the most physical team in the world, but we were very gritty. And so we knew if we defended every year or every night, we knew if we rebounded every night, we can do what we do best, which was get up and down the floor and run and have some fun. So in the years that I was in LA and we won championships, that was our formula. And when I started coaching, I took that formula to heart. I took it to Jersey with me, I took it to New Orleans, and then Cleveland and here in LA. And I've always truly believed that if you do those things on a night-to-night basis, then you have a chance to win every single night. The one thing that's always been hard for coaches is to get all the players to buy in to that philosophy, because players have their different opinions on what they think will make them successful, and it's always about them at the time. And I got to get them to really understand that it's about the team first. So with that philosophy that I would have, I would also get these 3x5 cards, and I would give one to every player on my team, and it would show them exactly what their role is going to be, so there's no question at the end of the day. You're not going to come to me and say, I didn't know my role, coach, because I'm going to have it for you right here. And some players might not agree with it. We'll have our conversations. But for the most part, I think as a leader of a team, when you have those philosophies, you also have to make them very plain and clear to certain guys on the team. And I did that for every person on the team to make sure that they understand this is where we were coming from. But defense in every sport has always been a key to winning championships. It doesn't matter what sport it is. Basketball is no different, because now you got 5 guys that have to play together on the floor at all times. They have to be what we call on the string. One guy moves, everybody moves, okay? They have to be able to cover each other, and they have to communicate on that defensive end. And the Laker teams that I played with, we were great at communicating. We didn't have any great standout defenders besides Michael Cooper, but we were a great team defensive team. So that's the things that I tried to take with me when I started my coaching career, to New Orleans and New Jersey, obviously, and then Cleveland and LA. And I still think to this day, when you look at stats and you look at teams that win championships, the Lakers were one of the best teams in the NBA last year on the defensive end. That's why they won a championship. And I don't think it'll be any different this year. It's going to be a top 5 team on the defensive end that will win the championship. Golden State Warriors, all those years that they were winning championships, everybody talked about their great offense, Curry and Klay Thompson, and how great they were shooting the ball. Look at the defensive stats. They were one of the top defensive teams in the NBA at the time. So again, very simple philosophy when it comes to a winning formula in basketball. For me, it's always defend, rebound, and then let's have some fun and get up and down the floor. So high school coaches, one of the ways to get some of your guys to buy into defending on a night-to-night basis, you got to give them examples. Bring up Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace is a guy that played in the NBA, wasn't even drafted, ended up being one of the best defensive players in the league, one of those guys that got paid a bunch of money for just doing 2 things, defending and rebound. Wasn't asked to score. 2 things. Look at another guy, Dennis Rodman. Great defensive player, great rebounder, played with a lot of energy, didn't need to score to be effective. You have so many different ways that you can affect the game without scoring. So I know a lot of high school players concentrate on scoring and they want to be Steph Curry and guys like that, which is great. But if you don't play both ends of the floor, your value goes down. So coaches, I would just stress to them that you got to bring them some examples of guys who've made it in the NBA and were very impactful in the NBA just by playing defense. Again, high school coaches, when you're talking to your players about conditioning, guys that come in out of shape or they're not real big on getting themselves in shape because they just want to play basketball. You know what? You got the ultimate, job as far as coaching, but you also got the ultimate weapon, playing time. Playing time. If they are not in condition and not doing the things that they need to do to get in condition, you know what? This thing over here we call a bench. When it gets to that tail, every now and then guys start getting the message. Conditioning is so big. I've always been a big believer and a firm believer in conditioning and making sure that, the one thing I didn't never want to happen on the basketball court is that I always get tired, and that way I can't compete with other guys. If you're going to beat me, it's because you're just a better basketball player. It's not because you're going to outwork me. It's not because you're going to be in better shape than me. You just got more talent than me. So you got to make sure you take away some of those things. So if you can get in the best shape of your life, that's one negative that you can take away and make it a positive for you on the basketball court. Well, to me, toughness when it comes to defensive rebounding is all about just heart. It's not pretty. Playing defense and rebounding is not the most glamorous thing that you can do on a basketball court. But again, if you are a guy that's not a scorer and you want to make your mark in the game of basketball, and you can do it on those ends of the floor, it's going to take a lot of heart, it's going to take a lot of courage, it's going to take a lot of determination and effort every single night. So a lot of guys don't have that built in, but it is something that you can definitely get if you continue to just work your butt off and just be determined to just go after every shot. Again, Dennis Rodman was one of the best rebounders in the league that we've ever seen, and he was only 6'8", 215, 220 pounds. So it can be done with determination. Yeah, I think when it comes to philosophies, number one, as a coach, even though, you get the final say, you still have to be open to listen to your players. You got to make them feel that they're important, that what they're saying is important as well, that you're listening to them and you're taking that to heart. Now, you're going to make the final decision, but most of the times, if a player really feels that you care about them and that you're listening to their opinion and they're trying to tell you something that they feel is better and you don't agree with it, that's fine. But you got to make your players feel like you care about them, that you want the very best for them. And that communication is so big, and it's not just high school, junior high, elementary, it goes to college and the professional level as well. And the one thing that I always had was an open door policy. I always wanted my players to be able to come in and talk to me about anything. Sometimes it's personal, sometimes it's on a professional level. But for them to have that comfort to be able to come to me and talk to me about it made me feel that much better. So again, your doors have to be open. You have to have an open mind as a coach to be able to listen to your players and take what they say and dissect it a little bit and digest it, and then tell them the reasons why you're not going to implement that or do what they want you to do. And if you can do it that way, I'm telling you, you gain so much more respect from your players. Well, my first few years as a coach, I was stubborn as hell, and I just told you, as a coach, you got to be open-minded. I wasn't real open-minded as a coach my first couple of years. It was this way or no way. I was really stuck on that. And so, obviously with experience, you learn things. As I got to my second job with New Orleans, I think I gained a lot more respect for the players that I had, and I was much more open to listen to them. And I had some great players. I had some young players, but I had some great players. So I learned a lot from my first stint in New Jersey to become a better coach and to understand what my players were going through, and the communication level was much better. And those are things that sometimes you just learn in time, and experience is sometimes the best teacher. Yeah, I mean, like you said, a lot of players, you're not blessed sometimes to come in a situation where you can just jump right in and be a leading scorer of a team. I came in a situation coming from college where I'm with the Lakers. I'm with Magic Johnson, Kareem, and James Worthy. As a rookie, you're not leading that team in scoring. You're not even getting off the bench much. The guy that was in front of me, Mike McGee, once Pat Riley made the change and said, B. Scott, you start and blah, blah, blah. I looked at that and said, you're never getting this job back. That was my opportunity. And a lot of guys, like I just said, we don't have LeBrons that just come in right away and just play the way they just played. Even Kobe Bryant, when he came in the league, he had to sit down. He had to sit down for a year before he got the second year where he was playing a lot, but he wasn't a starter. And then the third year, he just boom, So again, when you get those opportunities, guys, the one thing I used to always say, once it comes around, you better take full advantage of it, because don't think it's going to come around again. It might not, So if that door opens, you better be ready to run through that door and take full advantage of it. And the only way you can do that, though, you got to be prepared. You got to be ready. You got to be in shape. All those things set you up to be able to take advantage of the opportunities that's going to be opened up for you. If you're not ready, that opportunity comes and it closes, and all of a sudden you don't get that opportunity again, then you just squandered away a chance of really doing some great things. So we talk about conditioning and preparation and things like that all the time when it comes to basketball. And it comes to light when you get an opportunity to get, somebody gets sick, so you get put in the starting lineup and you play like crap that night. Well, you know what? He's coming back. You know what? Pretty soon. But if you played lights out, it makes it harder on the coach to sit you back down. And that's what you want to do. I used to tell players all the time, make my job hard. Make my decisions tough on me to decide on who plays and who don't. You not putting in the work makes my decision easy. So you got to take advantage of the opportunities when they present themselves, because again, you never know when they're going to come back. Yeah, I mean, to me, preparation is one of the biggest things and one of the keys to being successful in basketball or any sports or any life in general. Anything you do in life. And I could give you a story about me one night when I was running here in LA, pouring rain, went out and ran, what I normally do, even when it was raining. And I came back and I'm lying on my porch, and my ex-wife comes out and she says, why would you do that? Why would you run tonight when it's pouring rain like this? And I looked at her and I told her, I said, because there's a guy that's in Florida that's probably about 6'4", that plays in the NBA too. I cannot allow him to get, one up on me. That's the preparation and the determination that I had every single night, is because I didn't want to allow people to outwork me. I knew there were guys out there more talented than me, but you're not going to outwork me. And that to me was the key for me being able to last as long as I did in the NBA and play for the Lakers and some of the other teams I played for and have the success that I had, was making sure every single night that I was prepared to play. I studied my opponents. I knew what to take advantage of because I watched a lot of film, went through the scouting reports. All those things right there get you ready for the game at hand.